We take the opportunity of cautioning ladies that it is scarcely possible to remove a steel hook from the flesh without the aid of a surgeon. The Young Lady's Journal, Complete Guide to the Work Table, 1884. So if you see blood under my fingernails, you know why. This is, of course, Heritage Crochet and Analysis by Mary Conwell, published 1987. It was my first book and insight into the history of crochet, and it was the most influential book. So it's very concise and has all of the knowledge that you would want as a beginner. It is the reason that I started investing in anti-crochet hooks and books and patterns, and the reason I devoted my dissertation to the history of crochet. But I dug a bit too deep and I needed a lot more information. So I got this guy. This is Liz Paludan's Crochet History and Technique. This was recommended to me by Nancy Nefrick, the publisher of the website Lace Buttons. I highly recommend you check it out. It has original patterns of antique crochet hooks. It's got tons of history and original documents. It's beautiful. And of course, she's also the publisher of a few articles for Piecework magazine focusing on the history and the method of crochet. Stunning work. She recommended it. I took her word and I invested in this book. This is the back. And funnily enough, the original price was $35 and I paid £35. £20 was shipping, but you know, that's life, as Frank Sinatra says. Now, I wanted to let you know about it since it might be an investment for some of you as well. So if you did want, just to have a brief overview. So the Danish edition was copyrighted 86 and the English in 95. And here we have the contents. And I have read every page. Oh, if you want to get intimate with the author, do go ahead and read that. But yeah, I've read every page and I can say it is brilliant. It's a very lovely formatted book, lots of information, and it will get you thinking, that's for sure. And I love how the references are after every paragraph, including a few quotes which could provide a good use. Lovely church lace. This is a Christogram, meaning Jesus, humanity, Saviour. And then you've got the origins, which I think is lovely. See, these are great. This side's great, but why would you have... Make it match at least, I don't know. Why bother doing a pattern if there's an obvious seam? And what's interesting is it mentions that the majority of this was done by men originally. Because people think, oh, crochet was very, female-centered, but no. Like most other kind of origins of crafts, it was pretty male-dominated. You've got some lovely hooks. Oh my god, I've got this one. This one's the Triplex by Morales. It has 3 hooks. And this one is WH&Co slider hook. I have to go see where this is. Oh, I love having a new adventure. That's great. You've got tatting hooks, which I think is really fun. Tatting is lovely, but it does get confusing when you've got tatting hooks, you've got sleigh hooks, you've got knitting hooks, you've got even like citrus peelers which look like crochet hooks, and then you've got your shepherd's knitting hooks. And I think just the way it's formatted and written and just all of the information is absolutely delectable. It is fabulous. I mean, £35 is alright. I'm doing this for my studies. And if you're not that interested in the history of crochet, like you want a brief overview, this is great. If you want to dig deep into John Mercer, Bessemer, Lowe. If you want to know the history of Millwards and Morels, all of that, that's not really in here. You need to do personal research. Fun thing is, this was published first in Danish, so all of the history there is very much different. It's not British or American centered like most of them. This one you find lots of the laces were made in Denmark, which I think is absolutely great. It gives a whole different insight. But if you want all of that really specific history, well, you just do that yourself. Or you can look at my posts. I post all of that because I think it's really fun. But yeah, I did want to stop on the samples. This is absolutely fabulous. I'm making a doily table runner like this. I think it's great. You've got the square and the rectangle. Most of it is filet crochet, so that's nice and easy. And these samples, it does say, if you can pause and read that, that would be good. But it does say, when you would buy a pattern, you would get a sample as well, and then you could work from the sample. And the pattern was sort of a backup. But you could work from a sample, and that's how it was taught to Irish crochet workers as well. It would be they would have a pattern book and just copy that. Because this was around, Irish crochet at least in the 50s, and that was during the famine. And crochet was still relatively new, So pattern writing, and everyone writes it differently, and if you're taught by people from a different country as well, and so having the physical thing easier and quicker. Anyway, but yeah, this is lovely. You wouldn't really need a pattern as much back then. You would just work from what you saw, what you bought with your pattern, what you saw someone else do. Oh, incredible though. Absolutely stunning. Some wave braid up there, wave braid here, wave braid, that's braid. The art of the crochet hook and the craft of the crochet hook and Flora Klickerman and her whole association, they love working with machine-made braids. So, you find lots of braids like Horniton's brace or Coronation. Where was it? Here it is there. They kind of look like pineapples or viruses. You see that in a lot of their works, in a lot of their patterns. This is like the sort of doily I want to make. Really nice edging to it. I might want a bit more intricate, but this is the idea. Sorry, I'm so excited. I love talking history. These are absolutely gorgeous. Anytime you see something like this where it's sort of an applique and it's put onto a mesh background, it's usually Irish crochet, and Irish crochet would be made by multiple people. It would be made in a way that you could take it home and work on the motif and then come back and assemble it all together. So it's nice and fun and easy. But no, I do think all of this very interesting, very good. Of course, you should always have multiple sources to cross-reference, but it's so nicely written. And then you get to see all of these patterns, which I will say, if you buy that book, I've mentioned the Heritage Crochet, the art and craft of the crochet hook, and now the Victorian Weldon's Company book. I have videos about all of those specifically, so you're not missing out. But the Victorian Crochet by Weldon and Company, the compilation in, I think, 1977, a lot of those patterns you will see here. Weldon's and Company that's so gorgeous. It was a big company, so you'll see lots of their patterns reprinted everywhere. And then, of course, Flora Klickerman as well. So it's worth investing in those. They're not that expensive, to be honest. This was more expensive, and this is vintage, and those are antique. But yeah, investing in those original sources, or going even for free to the Antique Patterns Library, and you can find out how to make the original patterns. Or you can challenge yourself and make them just by eye, which I'm doing at the moment. Not one of these but a lace I saw in real life. I think that's super exciting. But yeah, it just gives you a lot of history, a lot of examples. I do wish, if I'm being critical, that there were at least 2 different books. I want one book focusing on the actual pieces of crochet, and then paragraphs of the example. I want it proper detailed. And then another book where it's just literature and just your references and just every compilation of everything ever. Because a lot of these, they give you a history like Mary Connoir, and then there's no reference for what she said. That's so cool. A woolen insole, and these were usually knitted, but this girl said, I'm a crocheter, I'm gonna make this for my shoes because they're uncomfortable. But yeah, basically I want a crochet picture book and a literature book focusing on all the history. I mean, together they're fine, but a lot of this is just fun to look at, but it's not really giving me all of the information I want. Don't you kind of just want to make a baby to make one of these? I think, may have seen that in Weldon's. Some of them, I mean, they're just all kind of familiar. The style is always pretty similar during these times. But yeah, absolutely great source. If you can find it in a library, or if you can, that's so cute, if you can find it for a good price, I recommend it. It's good. It's good. Lovely beaded bags. I'm so due to make one of these. And they're pretty easy just to make by eye because you're just going in the round. So you've got your chevron, you've got your Greek key. Absolutely stunning though. Oh, filet crochet handbag, nice and easy, but the effect is wonderful. And the creativity as well. I mean, I know there were like hundreds of people working on this, but it's still stunning to see. Absolutely stunning. Oh, this is like for the doily. That's the center I did. That's fun. Oh my god, that's gorgeous. See, this is an antimacassar shawl, but I need a massive paragraph. I know it's difficult to trace everything back, but in my hopes and dreams, see this for that doily? Lovely. And you can just copy this by eye. I have done this pattern before though, so that's fun. A bedroll, I've made one before. It was from the Victorian book as well, so that was good. It was a lovely puff stitch, so it's very nice and warm, and because it's woolen, but it's very nice and warm because of the puffs and very comfortable. I mean, oh, I made one of these. It was also chevron and from the Victorian book, but it didn't have these sexy tassels. I never knew how to finish that one. This might be the way. That's crazy. Oh, I thought the flower was crochet. You know what? Ignore that. The flower pot. I was like, wow. No, that's fine. I do have these patterns in the Victorian book. I do see that they're published in a different sort of book here. So I'm gonna have to see what that's all about. I know I have this one, but it's not the what's his name? Walter Weldon Company. His name's Walter. And then Lovely Techniques, which is always good to have. I do love this. It looks a bit like knitting. It's using single crochets or slip stitches. Absolutely stunning. I mean, you could read this over and over and over. It's very beautiful. Alright, I'll just flip through the last few pages. Good old Irish crochet, of course. Love seeing it. And here you've got all of your braids. Isn't that great? Wave braid, whatever that weird. Is that wave too? Or torpedo? Zigzag braid. Okay, zigzag. I do like this one, that's crazy. And then you've got your broomstick or your hairpin crochet. I mean, they were just so inventive. Square lattice, okay, good. And it's fun to see what colour combinations they would use. Often you find them very strong contrasting colours. That's so cute. But yeah, it's a lovely book. It's recommendable if you can get it for a good price. Perfect. There we are. We have Baby and Mother. Hopefully I get to add more to my collection and show you sometime soon.